Okay, hello. Kim in Kim's basement. I can't figure out if the camera's blurry or my eyes are really. I have an eye appointment coming up because I'm seeing blurriness. So I've got I've got some improvements coming for sound and video, but I haven't gotten them yet. Uh, so I'm gonna do a quick video for somebody who's interested in a bass that's up for sale. Uh, this is a Hagstrom Concord 1. Let's see. There it is. That's a Hagstrom Concord 1. Oop. And a couple things we're going to go through about this particular one. I've had a bunch of these, and this one is one I have. You can see the checking on it. That's the first thing you can see, the finish checking. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And the bridge, you can see there's an issue with the bridge we're going to look at. And the tailpiece we're going to look at, and the knobs we're going to look at. That's the things that make this bass not quite a collectible original. Other than that, it's complete. So basically, these basses they were made from 1965 to 1971 in Sweden. The Concord 1, and they made 2,749 of them in their run. So they're, that really isn't a lot. Oh, right over my other shoulder is another Concord, but obviously it's been really refinished. I'm still working on that one. I put the finish on that. When I got it, it had a finished job. And one thing about that finished job is they finished right over the binding. So there's no binding on that one. It's still fine. The thing with these basses is the neck is, this really awesome, thin, very fast playing, low action neck. And they have the King's Neck truss rod that I've had very few. I totaled up how many Hagstroms I've had, and I think it came out to 28. Again, so I just did this yesterday, and of course I can't even remember what it was, but I think I've had 28 Hagstroms. I got the other one over my shoulder, which I'm going to give some more information on. I did a video on that one. It turns out called the PB 24 BG. PB24BG. So it's PB. Well, we'll talk about that in the right video. But that's another Hagstrom there. They're great. I love Hagstroms. They're really fabulous. And when we talk about Hagstroms, the ones that are the fabulous ones are the ones that were made in Sweden. And there's a bunch of history. There's some nice websites on Hagstrom. But basically, they were an accordion company in Sweden that started making guitars. And there's just some gorgeous, gorgeous ones. There's new Hagstroms, but, and I'm sure they're fine. They're just not the real vintage Swedish Hagstroms. I think they're made in China or Japan or Taiwan. Not Japan, certainly. Taiwan or China or someplace. I don't spend any time looking at the new stuff. I like the old stuff. So anyway, so the issues about this bass include, and I've seen this a couple times with Hagstrom, is that their tail pieces have normally on the backside kind of a claw string retainers. And, you know, there are these bent pieces of metal and the strings go in between. And it's in back of the tailpiece. And a lot of times one of those prongs will break off. And once it breaks off, you can't, there's no string retention. So a lot of people have to fix them. And even the one in back of me, if you were to, oh, it's over here. If you were to look here, this tailpiece has been drilled out so that the strings come through and over it. That was like that when I got it. This one has a, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. It has a bar that in it. That's been bolted in, and so you see the screws there. Now I'm thinking, when I was talking to the fellow or emailing him, I was thinking of putting some maybe some polished studs over here and bolting it in so you don't see this the screw holes, and it would look a little better. The other thing about this is that the bridge, which is the Hagstrom bridge, doesn't have the big wide wheels for adjustment. It's got these smaller nuts for adjustment. So I don't think that's original. I'm not sure why it was changed. The knobs, for all that they're vintage, they might be the original ones, but I don't think they are. I've had so many of these things that I kind of recognize. But then again, you know, they did change over the years. This one, I believe, is a 1967. The serial number on it, don't have my glasses. The serial numbers don't equate to anything, but you can get the information. I have the information coming for that PB24 BG bass guitar, BG, PB24 BG, or Hagstrom Kent. It's also what they call that. I have the info coming for that. Once I get confirmation that I can get these numbers, I'm going to start, you know, having the numbers here. But again, 65 to 71. There's certain telltales that are pointing to, for me, thinking this is a 67. Okay, so a couple issues there, and then there's the finish. And I put a clear coat nitrocellulose on this. What I discovered with another Concord that I'm working on, the checking was so bad, it was really lifting off, and I ended up literally peeling the entire laminate right off of the face, because it's a thin laminate of what I would believe is maple on a core, you know, like a 1/4-inch core. And underneath it almost looks like Luan once you get underneath it. It probably isn't mahogany, it's probably something else. But so when you see this checking, what happens is that the lacquer was put on really thick. This is very typical of a lot of, you know, vintage instruments and a lot of European EKO and Vox, where the lacquer is put on really thick and it dries and it checks. And when it checks significantly enough, it can actually crack that thin veneer. So nothing's going through. There's no cracks in the body. It's just checks on that veneer, which you either kind of like in a way. Most people don't. You know, I've had some of these that have absolutely no checking on them, which is possible, but the majority of them have checking, and sometimes pretty significant checking. So the nitrocellulose coat really bonded this quite nicely so that nothing is lifting. And it's this spot here yeah, that spot there is where kind of sanding down some of that high edge. It's very smooth now, nothing's lifting. It's there, it's nice and solid. But before it was, lifting kind of high. The back I didn't do. So this is original, and you can hear it, the lifting. Okay. I left the back alone. I just did the front to kind of, solidify it. If this didn't have these issues, this bass would be much more expensive. It would be, it would be running anywhere between, I'd say, $1,000 and $1,500, and $1,500. And some people ask a lot more. If it's in perfect condition, it's very collectible. They made, $2,750 for $2,749, so they're pretty rare. So anyway, everything else is original. All the electronics, 2 4-pole single coil rectangular pickups, volume and tone control for each, Van Gent tuners, I guess that's how you pronounce it, which is standard on these vintage ones. And what else can I tell you? Bound neck, rosewood fingerboard, pearloid dot inlay. That's about it. So let's see. And for the tones, now again, forgive, I got a better mic coming, but in the meantime, it's just, I'm going to leave the amplifier alone. I'm not going to alter the amplifier. All the tones will come from the bass and changing the settings on the bass. Now, so this is both pickups on, so 3-position pickup select. Down is treble, up is bass, middle is both. And there's an interesting thing about this bass. The 2 tone controls, when you move them, are opposite of almost every other, so going, looking down at the bass and going counterclockwise is all the way high end, and going clockwise is low end, which is kind of backwards of almost every other thing. And I don't think I did that. I mean, I guess you could wire it. Yeah, you could reverse the polarity of them and get it right. I don't know. I don't think I messed with the electronics on this. I can't remember. This is a hobby of mine. I get them. I tinker with them. I get them set up as best I can, and then I either keep them or I move them. So this one, I have a lot of basses and just way too many. So I have to move either ones that, I always wanted to have like one of everything, and that's, unless you're a collector, that's kind of hard to do. Okay, so I have like 78 left, and that's way too many for me. I need like 10. 10 would be good. I'd love to have 10, not 78. Okay, so, but they're beautiful to me. I mean, they're just, everything is beautiful to me. I'm looking in back of me, and I got, the Baldwin, a K, a Univox, kind of a new, I don't do new stuff, but that's a Epiphone, kind of new, the Hagstroms, and actually a Norma, which is a nice one that I'm working on. That's an EKO copy of a Norma copy of an EKO violin. So anyway, so here's the tones. So that's both pickups. I've got round wound strings on his. If you want that real bassy tone, swap them out for flats, maybe some nylon tape wounds. But it rings out nice with the round wound. that's with everything on, as they would say in Spinal Tap, everything on 11. Okay, everything's on 11. So if I were to turn, let's go to bass, only bass. And now, again, the tone control going the opposite way, totally dead. And all the way up. A lot of tonal difference, real nice control. And no scratching there. So pots are clean. This might, and no scratching there either. It's good. Little, once you use it. By the way, if you didn't know that, you got to use these things. You know, you got to, if you get it and it's scratchy, just go back and forth a couple times. It'll stop scratching. Treble. And again, that tone going the wrong way, in my mind. Move it around. It'll stop scratching in a second. Okay. I don't know if, if this is going to be your funk bass slapping, but I'm not a slapper, so. But you can pop it, and both. So if you're a jazz guy and you're going to be playing, kind of a woodier tone and a kind of a more swinging thing and not a bright thing, I'd put flats on it, probably tape. Most of the stuff that I have that I play for that style has the nylon, labella nylon tape wounds, and but you can get it. And you could really deaden it up. So you get some, just from on board, you get a lot of good tones. Again, if you play with a pick, you're going to get, if you want bright, you can get bright. You can get bright. And it's a nice low action, very, very low action. The bridge can go down some more, but you might, I'm getting no buzzing on any frets. I don't play up in a higher. I'm not a very kind of. There's some great bass players out there, and they're playing all over here. You know, I'm just getting into it, but my hands are kind of screwy. I'm getting old. I might not look old, do I? Do I look old? Gosh, what I would do, me and Dorian Gray hanging on the wall with the basses, but it just, you know, I'm okay. I'm still having fun. I'm still having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. That's the Hagstrom in a nutshell. Hope I didn't bore you. And you know, again, keep looking because I'm going to be posting a bunch of videos on stuff that's for sale, stuff that isn't for sale, just bases. Going to get into some oyster stuff because I'm an oyster guy. I got my logo on from my where I work, and going to be doing some cooking videos. So I don't know. That's what we're doing in this kind of COVID era is hanging out in the basement alone with our hobbies. And so, you know, you got to enjoy it. Don't be depressed. It's a beautiful world out there with beautiful stuff you can get. So, as they say in the hip age, peace up, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.